We stopped yesterday in the words of Allah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Till when death comes to one of them, he says, "My Lord, return me, that haply I may work righteous, that I may do righteous deeds with regards to that which I left. Nay, indeed, these are words that he speaks, and behind them is a barrier till the day they are resurrected. And when the trump is blown, there shall be no kinship between them. There shall be no kinship between them that day, and nor will they question one another." In hope that I would do some good deeds that I left. So what we did yesterday is that there's no person except that when death comes to him, he wishes to come back. It will be said to him, "No." Like how some have said, as if it's a no, meaning as if what you're asking for is impossible. It's as if you're saying, "Be quiet. Don't give any excuses. And don't talk." As if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, "Did I not tell you about what happened to Fir'aun when he was drowned?" And it was a verse we made for you to reflect, and how you know that when he was drowning, he said at that very moment that "I now believe in the God that the children of Israel believed in." Now you believe, and before you were disobedient. So for this reason, a person should prepare for death to come any moment, because Allah Azza wa Jal says that when their time comes for their death, then it won't delay even for a moment, and they won't come any early. You cannot bring death early, or you can't bring death early, nor you can delay it. Maybe one can say, and are there some who wish to bring death early? Yes, there are a lot of people. Those who have lost hope in their life, those who have lost hope in the mercy of Allah, those who are afflicted with depression. Someone who has diseases, but they have no patience, and they're speaking in themselves. Some believers even they speak amongst in themselves, that because of the immense amount of trials and tribulations and sins, they're afraid of themselves. They're afraid for their children. So is it permissible for him to ask Allah to make him die? Is death something like a solution for this, what he's going through? Death is not a solution. Death is a transfer from this world to the next, where there will be judgment. And a believer will never be at ease until he steps into paradise with both his feet. Then you have guarantee, because Allah has written that whoever enters paradise, he will not leave it. On the contrary to hellfire, there are some people who will enter hellfire, but they will leave. But paradise, when you enter, you won't leave. So we ask Allah that He makes us from them. So is it permissible for a person to wish to die? He says, "I'm afraid to die, I'm afraid to live, I'm afraid of the trials." Is it permissible? Is it permissible for me to ask for death? The one who's asking this question is someone who is afraid of his religion, not someone who's afraid of his life or his health or things like that. Is it permissible? And the Prophet ﷺ answered this question. The beloved ﷺ, he said in the hadith, do not wish for death. Let not any of you wish for death if you are afflicted with harm. Don't wish for death to come because of any kind of problems that you're facing, like poverty, or and if he does, if this person wants to die, then he should say, oh Allah, let me live if life is good for me, and let me die if life is bad for me. The Prophet said this is the extent you can make dua. But you, as if saying, oh Allah, let me die because this life is not good. If you don't have patience, the best thing, of course, is the Prophet said, let none of you wish for that, because he's saying to be patient. Because if Allah is afflicting you with a harm, then he wants to expiate your sins, so that when you're completely expiated from your sins, and then you return to your Lord free of sins. And if life is difficult for me and it has problems and it has disbelief, that's kufr, then let me die. This is the extreme form where a person has no way of being patient. And hope that I may do good righteousness with regards to that which I left. Nay, indeed, these are words that he speaks, and these words, there's a difference of opinion. There are two opinions. One is that the words are referring to the nay that will be said, and who is saying that is Allah will be saying to that person. And it's also said that the words refer to what this person is saying, my Lord, return me. And behind them is a barrier till the day they are resurrected. And that barrier, this barzakh, the meaning of barzakh but barzakh is a barrier. When two oceans meet, or two waters meet, there is a barrier between them that stops them from mixing. And barzakh is the barrier between this world and the hereafter, because it is a time between the life of this world and coming out from your graves. So your barzakh life, it is a complete life with all of its details, like how we are in our mother's wombs. It has its own world. When you when you go to sleep, you get transferred to another world. The realm of the sleep world, is bigger than this world that you live in. So the world of the sleep is bigger, and so is the time frame. And I gave you the example that maybe someone can doze out for a few minutes, and he sees himself that he traveled and did so much and ate and maybe even married and had children. And maybe he sees himself grow older. So this is a strange time frame that you might experience a whole year or a whole day, and then when you wake up, you see that all that just happened in 10 minutes. You slept for 10 minutes while you saw something in your dream. You saw many events. You traveled, you even married, and you studied. If you were to to calculate the time in the dream, in relation to this world, it would take a month or maybe a year or 2 years. What is that time frame? That is the time frame of the sleep world. So also when you die, you get transferred to the time frame of barzakh, of the intermediary realm, and that is very, very long. And its forms are strange, because you, in that realm, you will meet the souls, and that is the realm of the souls, and you'll be seeing souls. And it is slightly similar to the realm of the sleep, because in the realm of the sleep also you meet souls. Like when you leave your body, when you sleep, your soul leaves your body, and you meet the people uh, through your soul. So, and 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 um, and the barzakh is the realm of the soul. But as for the body stays in the pit in your grave, but your soul gets transferred to the barzakh. And over there will be people visiting one another. In barzakh, there has a life that has its own natural orders and rules. There will be people visiting one another there as well. And it has come that a deceased person, when a person dies, his when a person dies, his relatives meet him when he dies. Like a traveler, when a traveler returns to his country, his family and relatives and his neighbors and his friends meet him. And every one of us thinks he knows that he has relatives who have died before him, like his grandparents, grandmothers, your friends, your neighbors, those whom you used to sit with in this world, and you had a sort of intimacy. And every day they get to know your daily, uh, they're looking for you to come. So every day they're thinking and looking, when will he come and when will we hear his news. Can you imagine that? And when a person dies, his relatives from the deceased meet him, and they ask him, how was your death? Like how, when you meet a traveler, you say, how was the trip, how was the flight, how was the immigration, did they check your luggage, did you lose some of your items, was the flight okay? Alhamdulillah, you've come safely. Similarly, when you're put in your grave, after you're done with the questions of the angels leave you, and then you and then they ask you, how's death, how was it? And he doesn't answer them. They're asking, and he is not answering. Then they're quiet. He's quiet. Then one of them says, this is from the realm of the arwah, leave him, because he's still in experiencing the severity of the soul being pulled out from him. There's some people, they die like how they sleep. Like when you sleep, you don't know when you went to sleep. You're sitting on your bed and you're preparing for sleep to come to you, and then you don't know if you slept, and when exactly you slept, you don't know. And similarly, you wake up. So there's some people, they wake up on their own, and some people, they wake up by others. And similarly, a believer, his death, his leaving of his soul, it's like a sneeze. How do you sneeze? When you sneeze, true, your facial features change, and then after you sneeze, you are at ease. When the sneeze comes, your body is preparing to sneeze. Before the sneeze comes, there are changes in your body, and usually people try to distance their sneeze, or prevent themselves from sneezing, and when they're in front of people, and then once you've sneezed, you feel that you're at ease, and that's why you say Alhamdulillah. And then the others who are there say, they do tashmeet by saying Yarhamkallah. And similarly, a believer, when the soul is about to leave, he thinks as if he's going to sneeze, as if he wants to take out that sneeze, but he doesn't know that's actually it's his soul coming out. So it is like him, for him it's like a sneeze. So we ask Allah that He makes the time of our death very easy by His mercy. To whom is the death difficult? I'm not talking about bad ending, but I'm talking about the pangs of death. They are hard on some people, and we seek refuge in Allah from that. And most of the people for whom the death is difficult, is the oppressors, those who oppress other people, those who take the rights of other people, those who hurt people by their tongues, or by their eyes, or with their hands, or with their words, or with their actions. We seek refuge in Allah from that. So be warned that you hurt another Muslim. If you hurt a Muslim, you've hurt the Prophet ﷺ. If you hurt the Prophet, you've hurt Allah. And we seek refuge in Allah from that. And then, I said in previous lessons, and remember these words and this phrase: what you do in your house, you will see it in your grave. What you do in your house, you will see in your grave. Meaning, what you do in your room, in your house, from the worship, from the Quran and the dhikr and the prayer, you'll see those good deeds transform into good faces or good appearances in your grave. They'll speak to you, and they'll make you feel at ease, and they'll be in forms of good faces. And similarly, your sins. If you are sinning in your room, then they will turn into ugly faces who will make you be afraid, and we seek refuge in Allah from that. And I said in the previous lesson that the grave, everyone has his grave, and where it is, Allah knows. So they say the grave calls its inhabitant every, oh, so and so. If people don't hear that call, would they do hear that call? They would be. Imagine if you were to hear your grave calling you. You wouldn't be able to live, or eat, or even sleep, or even play, or even laugh. You'll be in fear. But Allah has hidden these things from us out of mercy, so that we can live our lives as Allah expects us to, because life is where you sow the seeds for the hereafter. It's not the place where you just sit and wait for death. So the grave calls to his future inhabitant, saying, "Oh, so and so, I am the house of worms. I am the house of darkness. I am the house of wahsha. I'm the house of restriction. What have you prepared for me?" I am the abode of worms. I am the abode of darkness. I am the abode of worms. What have you done for me? Every day. For this reason, some of the Salaf, the righteous predecessors, they would prepare for themselves a grave. Before, things used to be easy. There wasn't, it wasn't, things weren't complicated in life and death. But now we live in an age where everything, some countries, you have to buy your grave. The Muslims who live in non-Muslim countries, if you do, you have to buy your grave. Everything is purchased. They'll appoint for your grave because over there there's limited spaces. So in general, some of the Salafs, they would prepare a grave for them. Let's say they have a land in their house, and some people would get buried in their own houses, and they would get down in their grave, and they would recite the Quran. And to the point it said that Rabiatul Adawi, may Allah have mercy on her, who's the righteous Siddiqa lady, who had read thousands of khatamat in her grave during her lifetime. She was preparing her grave. She'd done 1,000 khatamat. Look how she was thinking. And some of the righteous, they did something amazing for themselves, and some might find it strange, and we shouldn't find it strange. But who is framed, who should appear strange is ourselves. So this person, he had a house, and Allah gave him a lot of good, as in wealth. He was a trader, but he was righteous at the same time. So sometimes he would forget the dhikr of Allah, and the world would take him, and he would repent and blame himself, and then he saw himself, his lower self was tricking itself that, it's okay, do your sins and then you can repent later. So then he reproached himself. He said, this is difficult, and he said, how can I nurture myself? He said, I have a big house, I will dig for myself a grave. And I will address it as my grave. Like the graves of the dead. So he made this grave to be a reminder for himself. And he put a cover, a wood cover on top. So one day he sinned, and then he wanted to reproach himself. He made wudu and went in the darkness of the night to his grave, and he lifted. So he opened the plank from the grave, and he saw it very dark and scary, and he got down in it, and he laid down like how a dead person would lay, and then he covered himself with that plank. Then he brought into mind that angels have come and they're asking him the questions. Why did you pray? Why did you leave your prayer? Why did you disobey Allah? Yeah, like that. So then he says this verse, my Lord, return me, my Lord, return me, till that maybe I may work righteousness with regards to that which I left. To the point, he kept saying that until and then he felt so afraid and so suffocated in there that he came out, and then he said to himself, as if Allah saying to himself, we have sent you back now, so So make sure you do the righteous deeds. So so what is to be asked is, are we thinking like this nowadays? Not to do the same thing, but do we have these same thoughts? It's very rare you find someone like that. This is gonna cause depression and fear. And what's this dervish lifestyle? What's this extremism? What kind of extremism is this? But these people didn't see it as extremism. They saw it as reproaching the self. Um, Death is reality, and we see thousands of people dying every day. Today, everyone go to the website and look how many people have died today from corona. Were they expecting to die like that? No, I don't think so. Everyone expects to die. Even a disbeliever knows that he's going to die, but they don't expect to die right now, and at that level, and by the disease of corona for which there's no cure so far. They weren't expecting that. They get sick all of a sudden and die all of a sudden. What is this? True, there are people. There are diseases like cancer. Uh, Cancer doesn't kill you quickly; it kills you after a long time, and some people get cured from it. We ask Allah to heal the sick from amongst us, and there are a lot of other sicknesses, but they don't come all of a sudden. They have means. They come by by means, and they take time. So either you get cured, or you die after some time, after years. But this corona comes quickly, and you don't know where it came, uh, who infected you. You don't know, and all of a sudden, your temperature rises to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. What caused the temperature to rise so much, and then they die? We ask Allah to protect us from that. So the thinking of the predecessors, that they would think, but positively. But nowadays, if if somebody were to dig a grave today, they will think that he's crazy, that he's got a mental problem. This is in fact intellect. What he's doing is right. He is fixing himself in the right way. He's seeing himself being tricked by himself, that years have passed by and he's only increasing in his sins, and he's seeing that his lower self is fooling him. So you know yourself. Maybe another person can cheat you, but you yourself, you know your lower self is tricking you, and then you keep accepting it. So you are the most aware that your lower self is tricking you. So it says the barrier, the barzakh, till the day they are rejected, and the person will be asked in his grave 3 questions or 4 questions. So for this reason, it is recommended to do talqeen on the mayyit, meaning to say La ilaha illallah. And some people rejected that. If you do talqeen of the mayyit, it has its proofs. And many of the ulama have done that. And also from the righteous predecessors. And nor the deceased will get harmed. The deceased person will listen, will hear, and the one who says that he doesn't hear is lying. The one who dies even knows who's washing him, because his soul is close to the body. When the angel of death takes the soul, he takes the soul and holds it next to the body. And so when they take the body to the place to be washed, the soul of the dead person can see who is washing and what they're talking about, what are they saying, but he cannot move because his soul is held by the angel of death. So he can't move and he can't speak. Because if he were to speak, it would be a big problem. Those are giving a shower, the ghusl will get scared. So the one uh, who dies knows who washes him, knows who prays, knows who makes dua for him, and knows who even stops and stands before the grave. Then the one who says they don't, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Even the disbelievers know. The Prophet ﷺ stood before the bodies of the polytheists who died in Badr, Abu Jahl and Ibn Mu'ayyid and Umayyad ibn Khalaf and all those who were killed in the day of Badr. So he stood before the place where they were killed and he called them one by one. And the Prophet was calling them, O Abu Jahl, O Uqba ibn Mu'ayyid, O Umayyad ibn Khalaf, O Shu'bah, O Walid, did you find what your Lord promised you as the truth? It's the address. As if the Prophet is addressing someone who's alive. He's calling them and he's asking them a question as well. Did you find what your Lord said to be truth? Sayyidina Umar heard the Prophet speak. So Sayyidina Umar came and he's seeing the Prophet is speaking to these dead bodies. And he said, Oh, Messenger of Allah, do you speak to people to people who are dead? Oh Umar, oh Umar, by Allah, you are not more hearing than they are. You don't hear more than them just because you are living. So just as you are hearing them, as just as you can hear, they can hear as well. In fact, they can even hear the conversation between Sayyidina Umar and the Prophet ﷺ. So you are not more hearing than them. They can hear me just as you can hear me. But they cannot answer back. This is the difference between the living and the dead. The living can respond to you. You can say salam and you can say wa alaikum salam and you can hear that. But the dead are two types. Every deceased can responds, except the disbeliever. The disbeliever cannot respond. The believer responds, but we can't hear his response. And the Prophet said that the deceased person can hear the footsteps of his friends. Some of the Sahaba said, if I die and you bury me, then stand and read in front of my grave, read in front of my grave Surat al-Baqarah, and I'll feel uns, or I'll feel like intimacy by your recitation of the Quran. If I die, then stay by my grave as long as it takes for a goat or for a camel to be slaughtered, and because it takes time to slaughter a camel, to remove its skin and cut its meat. Maybe it takes half an hour or 50, Allah knows. And recite before me the last verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. He's giving that counsel, he's giving that will to his companions. If if a person is afraid, then then and he can't see, then you say, tell him, at least be next to me so I can hear me. And this is why it is recommended to do talqeen of the one who has died. Meaning, when he's put in his grave, at that moment he's being prepared to meet the angels. So you call him by his name, You say, "O, O slave of Allah, the son of a slave of Allah," and you call him three times. The 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 the. So they say the one who has died, when he hears the first call, he hears and he opens his eyes, because the leaving of the soul is something very severe, and also coming back to the grave is also something very severe. It's as if you you have a deep sleep, and then you wake up and you're like, where am I? So he's hearing that person, "Oh, slave of Allah, the son of slave of Allah," and then he opens his eyes. And then when he hears it the second time, he gets up in the barzakh realm, in the barzakh, which is different than the grave. And the third time, the deceased person says, "May Allah have mercy on you. What do you have to say?" Then after the third time, he says, "Udhkurul ahad," remember the oath that you took by which you left this world, and that is the shahada of La ilaha illallah and Muhammad Rasulullah. And then the Quran is the truth, and the death is the truth, and the grave is truth, and the Prophet Muhammad is the truth, and Islam is the truth. And you are between, you are in your grave. So you know, it's like a deceased person, or a person who passes out, and he wakes up in a hospital, and he's like, where am I? He wakes up and he's like, where am I? What happened to me? What brought me here? What happened? So they tell him, calm down, relax. You are in the hospital. You had a car accident, and the ambulance got you here. You're okay right now. You're in such and such hospital. So he becomes at ease, because he wasn't understanding. Similarly, the deceased person in his grave, when he's put in his grave, he goes into another realm, and we don't know this realm. We don't see it. We see the grave is the pit of the body, but not the barzakh. Barzakh is something else, is something scary, something. Imagine you sleep in one place and you wake up and you're in another realm in the different forms, and you see two angels in front of you. There are great forms of angels the first time you're seeing them. So for this reason, the one who gives this talqeen is as if he is prepared you to tell you where you are. Because the angel won't tell you where you are. He'll just say, who's your Lord? He says, who's your prophet? What's your religion? He'll ask these questions directly. So this mulakkin, the person who reminds the deceased person, comes in the point before the angels come. So he has to come, meaning as soon as he's buried, he comes to do the talqeen. Remember the oath, udhkurul ahad. Remember the oath by which you left this world, that is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, that Islam is the truth, the Prophet is the truth, that death is the truth, and this. So you are now under in your you are in your grave. You have died. Remember this. You are dead now. You are in the midst of other graves, and if two angels come to you, Munkar and Nakir, then let them not fear you, because they are creation from the creations of Allah. So be firm. Maybe the forms will be different, that you're not used to seeing them. You are used to seeing people just like you. You're not used to seeing jinns or shayateen or angels. So the angels, if you were to see them, you would see something that it is strange. Allah knows how they are, whether they're big or scary, or Allah knows. So if the two angels come, so let them not scare you. And because they are creation from the creations of Allah. And if they ask you, who is your Lord? Say, my Lord is Allah. And if they ask you, who is your Prophet? Say, my Prophet is the Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And if they ask you, what is your religion? Say, my deen Islam. And say, if they ask you, what is your Qibla? They say, my Qibla is Kaaba al-Musharrafa. And if they say, what is your book? Say, my book is the Quran. Then And then the people on top of the grave, they make the dua. They make the dua, oh Allah, make him firm, make him firm, make him firm. Until then, the angels come. And here, it is not possible to answer the questions except whom Allah has made firm. And that grave, you just need the firmness from Allah. Allah makes you firm and steadfast. So this is why the Prophet ﷺ, his most common dua was, Ya muqallib al-qulub, O turn of the hearts and the gazes, make my heart firm on this religion. Because the question is direct and it is specific. So you should have the answer. So the one who doesn't know Allah in this dunya, he will not be able to answer. He did not know Allah. Whether he's a disbeliever or a hypocrite or a Muslim just by name, meaning he's busy in this world and most of his talk is about the dunya and most of his gaze is at the dunya, most of his thoughts are about the dunya. So how does he know his Lord? His Lord is his phone, his Lord is his sins, his Lord is his dunya, his matches. That is his Lord, because that's the most thing he hears and listens and loves and talks about and thinks about. That is what will come to him in his grave. That's the thing. And everyone should ask himself right now, what is the thing that I talk about the most, or I see the most, or I hear the most, or I love the most? That is what's going to come to me in my grave. Every one of us right now can know about himself. So this is why we've been ordered to do a lot of dhikr, so that you do your tongue does dhikr of Allah more, your hearing does more hearing of Allah, and your eyes and your heart. So who is your Lord? So the one who lived all his life with Allah, meaning he ate, he remembered Allah, he slept, he remembered Allah, he lived all his life following the Sunnah and reading the Quran. He was living his life. He was working and studying and married and had children and went to the park. But wherever he went, he followed the Sharia. He feared Allah. He lived his life, but he followed the way of the Prophet ﷺ, not someone sitting in his house and waiting for death. But he's always remembering Allah. He's prepared to die any moment. So the person like this, if you ask him, who who is your Lord, he'll say, my Lord is the one who feeds me. You're asking about my Lord, who I never forgot him in my world. He was the one who used to feed me. He was the one who used to feed me. He was the one who used to give me water. He is the one who gave me clothes. He is the one who created me. He is the one who gave me life, and he is the one who used to heal me. He would start talking about Allah. So his response will be praising of Allah. So the conversation will change. You're asking about my Lord? I never forgot him. I am living for him. All of what I have is from him. He is the one who created me. He is the one who guided me. He is the one who made me speak. He was the one who gave me hearing and seeing. So he starts talking about Allah, and the angels listen. Like how you talk about your Lord in this world, that's how you talk about him in the grave. If you say Allah left me and he forgot about me, and he left me poor, and he left me from this country, he made me from this nationality, why he didn't create me from that nationality, that I be an American? Why did Allah make me short? That's how people are talking about Allah in this dunya. On the grave, they will talk like that as well about Allah when they're asked, who is your Lord? So for this reason, the Prophet ﷺ taught us the du'as, the adhkar. When we wake up from our sleep, what do we say? the adhkar of the morning, we say, oh Allah, you created me, and you guided me, and you feed me, and you water me, and you make me die, and you make me come back to life, and you are capable of all things. We have come to this day, and this dominion has come to this day, and all praise to you, Allah, by you we have come to this day. So this same words that you're saying, this is why we say don't forget the dhikr of the morning and the evening, because every day you're saying this in the morning and the evening until you die. You will be saying that in your grave. So if the angel asks you, who's your Lord, you will say the same words. He is the one who created me. He is the one who feeds me. He's the one who waters me. He's the one who made me to die. He is the one who gives me bring back to life, and He's the one who is capable of all things. So know your Lord. In this world, what do you say about your Lord? Because there are a lot of people in this world, they are upset. They're not upset. They're not happy with anything. They're always negative. Nothing impresses them. They're not happy with anything. They're not happy with his appearance. Why Allah made me like this? Why Allah made me bald? Why He made my lips like this? Why He made me from this country? Why wasn't I from that country? Why Allah made my father like this and not like that father? So all this is rejecting and negative thoughts about Allah and about his life. And he's like, why should I fast Ramadan? What does it mean? Why is Allah making me hungry? So he's fasting and he prays, but his questions in his heart are all about as if he's rejecting, and he hides them in his heart. There's some people, they take it out, and they say, I'm not going to pray and I'm not going to fast. So they will be tested in their they'll be tested severely in their grave, and they'll be tried. The fitna of so that's why I give you counsel to uh, to read the adhkar of the day and the night. And when you say, oh Allah, you are the one who created me, and feel that you're addressing Allah, because when you ask in the grave, you will be answering how you think and speak about Allah in this world. You love to pardon, so pardon us. When you sit with the ulama, the righteous ulama, they teach you these things. They teach you. I met one of my teachers, may Allah have mercy on him. He's from the great awliyas, I hope him to be. But he was very simple. He was very simple in this. Maybe one person will come to him. He wouldn't even have anything to eat. His house was empty. But when you would visit him and we would say, how are you, Habib Rahman? He would say, Alhamdulillah, I'm in great blessings. And he would say, with being happy at the same time. So the one who knows his Lord in this world, and he praises the Lord, that's how he will talk about his Lord in this grave. You're asking me who my Lord is. I used to live for His sake in this world, the one who never left me, who never forgot me, like how Sayyidina Ibrahim said when he was debating with his people, and it was this harsh debate. He said, they are enemies for me except the Lord of the worlds. And then he started talking about his beloved, the Lord. He said, the one who created me, the one who and guided me, the one who feeds me and waters, gives me water to drink. And if I were to fall sick, he would heal me. These are the words of Sayyidina Ibrahim. Also, when you are asked about the Prophet ﷺ in your grave, what do you say about this man? This man, this is our master Muhammad. This is my beloved. This is the crown of me, my head. This is my soul. This is the one I wish to see always, that I would to ask Allah every night that I see him. This is the one I love to attend the gatherings where we send salawat on him, and I loved his attributes and his qualities, and I love the gatherings where we send salawat on him, and the gatherings of Mawlid, and we love his city. I love his companions. I love his family. Anything that is related to the Prophet ﷺ, I loved it. I'm always sending salawat on him. I'm sending salawat in my prayer, sending salawat on him in my prayer. And you're asking me about him? This is my soul. This is my love that flows in my blood. This is the one who I taught my children how to love. This is the one who that I didn't sit with anyone except that I would speak to them about him. That no day would come uh, into being except that your dhikr would be in my breath, and I wouldn't no cup of drink would come before me except that I would see your reflection in it. And if I were to not if ever I were to sit with people, then you would be my conversation. Then how would such a person answer? It's the first one to whom the graves will open on the day of judgment, the master of the first and the last. Everyone will answer based on his love for the Prophet ﷺ. Some people will say Muhammad Rasulullah, that's it. And some will say more. Some will say the master of the prophets and messengers, the best of the children of Adam, the first one to whom to come out on the day of judgment, the one who's concerned about us, the one who is the one who Allah sent as a mercy to all creation. And then, if you're asked about Islam, what is your religion? Are you proud of your religion? Are you proud that you're a Muslim? Did you spread this deen? Did you defend this deen? Did you have service for this religion? What did you do for this religion? And one should ask, what did you do for your religion? This is the deen by which Allah is giving you izzat. Imagine if Allah were to make you be in the place where you're worshipping idols or a cow, or you're worshipping Buddha, or you're worshipping the cross, or you're worshipping the sun or the moon, or even if you were to worship the devil, like the devil worshippers, or if you're an atheist. So alhamdulillah, you're worshipping Allah. This is the Lord, only Lord who deserves to be worshipped, and you spend the night awake for His sake, and you tire yourself for His sake, and He deserves. So that tiredness is ease for you. If a person is very beloved to you, you 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 are tireless in servicing him because he's the most beloved person to you. So what about your Lord? This is your Lord. This is Allah. Do you know the meaning of Allah, the one who created you? You were nothing. You were nothing. And then you become this human that he can hear and understand, who has a personality, and you have a life, and people ask you advice, people respect you, and you have children, and you have a job, and you have a identification, you have a passport, and you have a report. What are you? You were nothing. You were nothing before. Your Lord, the one who created you, uh, and you do something good, he boasts about you before the angels. You do a little bit of dhikr, that same dhikr that he helped you to do, and then he boasts about you. See how generous he is. He could have said, "You're my slave, and if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be nothing. You wouldn't be anything." And he can say that. He has every right to say that. But he would say before the angels, "My slave has glorified me. My slave has praised me." So then it will set to him sleep like the sleep of a bride until the day of judgment. There's nothing to upset you. So he'll be at ease. You want to sleep, you want to you want to you want to sit, you want to you want your soul to travel in barzakh. You want your soul to travel in barzakh. Like right now, our soul is restricted in our bodies. you not seen the birds that are sitting still, that when their homelands are mentioned, that they yearn to fly to them? And when the trumpet is blown, there shall be no kinship between them that day, and there will be no relationships, and nor will they question one another. So get to know your Prophet before you die. Attend the gatherings of knowledge. Listen to the words of the ulama about the Prophet ﷺ, how they exalt the Prophet ﷺ, how they yearn for him. When I was small, and see the barakah of attending the gatherings of scholars, I was in circles of knowledge, and some of my teachers was asking, they were asking each other their names, and we were maybe 13, 14, 15 years old. The 16 years, and some of my friends, his name was Muhammad. So the Shaykh was asking everyone their name. What's your name? Abdullah, mashallah. What's your name? Hussein, mashallah. What's your name? Hassan, mashallah. And then one person, he asked, what's your name? Muhammad. And like, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Your name's Muhammad? How fortunate are you? Sallallahu alayhi Sayyidina Muhammad. Your name is the same name as the name of the Prophet ﷺ. They teach you that your name is Muhammad, meaning Allah, not your parents, not your parents chose that name. Allah is the one who chose the name for everyone that He puts in the heart of the parents to name their children by. After istikhara, of course. But if they made istikhara, and then the name comes. So the one whose name is Muhammad, if your name is Muhammad, anyone who's listening, then know that Allah chose for you the best name. Allah honored you, and He honored you with the name Muhammad. This is a great thing. So for this reason, when my teachers, we thought, oh, this is something simple. We had friends with names Muhammad in our in school, and we used to joke around. But then when we learned the etiquettes from our teachers, and we were to see then our friends whose name were Muhammad, and they were if they were cussed at or slandered by other kids, then we would tell them, hey, don't say that. You are a Muslim, you shouldn't slander. But on top of that, you're a Muslim and your name is Muhammad, then it's double. You're Muhammad and you're not praying. Allah names you Muhammad. So this comes from sitting with the ulama. So we learned when we saw our teachers how they even exalted the one whose name is Muhammad. We started respecting people whose name were Muhammad just because their names are Muhammad. But now you find people whose names are Muhammad, and they don't respect their name Muhammad, and they even wish that their name changes. Is there a name better than Muhammad? What do you want them to name you? See how when the mind becomes darkened and the light goes away and the shaitan starts living in it, then the thinking becomes opposite. So when the trumpet is blown, there shall be no kinship between them that day, and they nor will they question one another. So I wanted to take 5 verses today, but and when the trumpet is blown, there shall be no kinship between them that day, and nor will they question one another. So the trumpet, the blowing of the trumpet, there will be 2 blowings. The first blow, it's called the trumpet of Sa'q, and the second one is for Ba'ath, for resurrection. The first one is for that will kill everyone, and they'll stun everyone. The big scream that will make everyone stun, and then everyone will, if the greatest signs of the day of judgment comes, and the sun rises from the west, and the dajjal is killed, and then, then the hour is about to come. It's like a woman who is about to give birth, um, but you don't know exactly when she's going to give birth, but it can come any moment. It's going to be like that. So if all of the signs of the end of times have come, the people will be in the worst types of situations. So the first trumpet will be blown. Anyone who hears that blowing of the trumpet will die from will be stunned and die. Everyone in the heavens and the earth will die. Everyone will die. And when the second trumpet is blown, that is the trumpet to resurrect them. So one trumpet will be blown to make them to die, and one trumpet will be blown to resurrect them. So it will be one trumpet will be blown, and all of them will be gathered before us. And I mentioned how they'll come out of the graves. We said all the deceased are one on top of each other. Imagine graves on top of each other. And we are the lost ummah. We are the first ones to come out, because there will be the last ones to be buried. So we will be coming out immediately, and behind you will be millions of other people coming out. They will be going to their Lord. So he says, when the second trumpet is blown, which is when the resurrection will happen, meaning you come out onto the earth and you won't know who's next to you, who everyone will be there, from Sayyidina Adam till today, till the last person. And it'll be like waves, how waves are mixing with another. There's been no place to even move. It'll be something immense. Imagine you are in a great field, and all of all these millions of people, and you don't find anyone you know. This is why it says there shall be no kinship between them, meaning there'll be no relationships. Meaning, for instance, there's a relationship between you and your father. You've got brothers. Every one of us is either a father or mother or a brother or a son or a friend. On the day of judgment, no one's going to ask you. A father won't ask for his son, and the son won't ask about his father. All these relationships will be cut. On that day, a person will flee from his brother and his mother and his father and his wife and his children. In that moment, a person will forget his mother and father. People will be in such uh, uh, a woman who is nursing a child. That's the most valuable and precious thing. But that day, the woman will be so astounded that they would even forget about their nursing child. And every woman who is pregnant would leave. Um, uh, will there be pregnant women pregnancy on the day of judgment? What does that mean? What that means is that every mother will forget their child. Your mother nursed you when you were small, but on that day of judgment, they will forget about you. And any woman who's carrying a child in her, she will let go of her child. What does that mean? In a lot of cases, the the the, uh, the mother carrying a child, and in all cases the child dies in the stomach. But that, they say, is going to be in the first blowing of the trumpet, that the and then the second trumpet will blow, and it will be the Fazl al-Akbar, and they'll forget all these relations, except one person, and that is the Prophet ﷺ. See, the verse says, there shall be no kinship between them that day, and nor will they question one another. No will ask, where's my friend, where's my wife, where's my children. No one is going to ask. The one around, people around you, you won't even know them. You don't know who you will be raised with. Let none of us think that he will be raised you'll be raised with people that you know. Maybe you might be raised with another ummah, another people. Does anyone understand that? Maybe you're from the ummah of the Prophet. Maybe from someone is from the ummah of the Prophet, but he will be raised with the people of Musa alayhi salam. What made him be raised over there? Because you took their attributes. Someone will be raised with the people of Lut. Someone will be raised with Fir'aun. Someone will be raised with Nimrud. Allah knows. People will be raised with those whom they love. So imagine you're being raised with people who were before you, Nuh or Hud, and you have no understanding or no relationship. Their forms are different, and on top of them they're disbelievers. It'll be something very scary. One will say, where is my father? But you, what are you talking about your father? You're in the ummah of the Musa alayhi salam. Where's my mother? You're in another ummah. It'll be something very difficult. And the Prophet ﷺ, he is the only one will be saying, my ummah. But if you're not raised with this ummah, then what's going to happen? You're far away. You're not being raised with the Prophet ﷺ. So what? So how will he see you? You in this world weren't with the Prophet ﷺ. You were living with the disbelievers. You're not following the sunnahs of the Prophet ﷺ. You don't attend the gatherings of knowledge of Sharia, not the gatherings of salawat of the Prophet ﷺ. You don't attend the lessons. You don't recite the Quran a lot. You're always heedless. You're always in playing. You're always away. It's from one marketplace to another marketplace, from one mall to another mall, from one YouTube video to another YouTube video, from here and there. This movie and this film and this serial and this song and this cinema. So how can you be with the Prophet ﷺ? But there are people from this ummah, they'll be raised with amongst the ummahs of the past. When will they be judged? When they'll be asked about? In fact, the ummahs of the prophets of those ummahs will not even ask about their ummah. Every prophet will say, nafsi, nafsi. If you will be raised with the ummah of Sayyidina Musa will be saying, nafsi, nafsi, myself, myself. Who will ask about you if your prophet's not asking? Is Fir'aun going to ask about you? Only the Prophet Muhammad is going to ask. He's the one going to say, my ummah, my ummah. Inshallah, the next lesson will explain about how this is going to unfold. And there will be people from the previous ummahs, they'll be raised with the Prophet ﷺ, and put that in mind as well. There'll be people from the ummah of Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Nuh and Sayyidina Hud, we don't know, they believed in their Prophet, and they also believed in the Prophet ﷺ, and they loved him as well, and they followed him. They'll be raised with him, because all the prophets will be raised with the Prophet ﷺ, and all those who believed in their prophets will be raised with the Prophet ﷺ. Someone from Sayyidina Musa or Sayyidina Isa or Sayyidina Hud or Sayyidina Salih and Sayyidina Shu'aib, people from those ummahs, and they're with the Prophet ﷺ. These people will be brought close, and such people will be distant. So we ask Allah that He grants us enabling grace to do that which pleases Him, and may He raise us with the Prophet ﷺ on that day. Allah will not let down the Prophet and those with him, and the lights will. We ask Allah that He bless us in this night, the night of 27, And oh Allah, if this is the night of Laylatul Qadr, we ask you that you pardon us and you show us your generosity, and then you emancipate us from the hellfire, and you guide us, and you guide our children and our daughters, and you uh, and all our brothers and sisters in the east and the west. Fatiha ila Hadrat Nabi. Habib is saying Jazakumullah khair to everyone. Brother Mahmoud is saying Walaikum Salam. How to stay in touch with Habib? We'll send you an email soon. Is there a question by Muhajir Ali? If someone who talks during Azan, is it afraid for him to die in a bad ending? We've heard this from our scholars, that if someone does not, that if the Adhan is happening and he doesn't stay quiet, then it is afraid for him that he might lose his faith before he dies. And we seek protection from Allah in that. Walaikum salam to everyone else who said salams. And we ask all of you to keep us in your du'as tonight and all of the nights. You can send, okay. If someone can summarize all the points of this lesson, so people who weren't able to attend can benefit. Keep saying Walaikum Salam to everyone, Muhammad Shabir, and everyone else messaging. Zakat al-Fitr is supposed to be taken out before the Eid prayer. It's taken out in the night of Eid, and it can be taken out before that as well. And it's given to those who are in need of it, who deserve it, sorry. Someone's asking, Roger, if someone is occupied during adhan by reciting Quran or even attending knowledge, then a person should stop everything when the adhan is going on, even unless he's praying, then he should complete his prayer. We ask Allah that He honors us with acceptance and emancipation of the hell, and for our parents and our teachers and all we love. Fatiha. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك